Hello and welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards, because Commander's number one. I am one of your hosts, Daniel. I have got my good friend Slothy with me today. Slothy, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. It was a bit of a strange week. How are you doing?
Also, a bit of a strange week. I just threw up like in one of our the Patreon chat there. Someone ripped the front end of my truck off. So it was a interesting week. A few problems to deal with back to back, but end of the day, no one got hurt, no one got injured, and my truck just got a boo boo. That's all right, right? How about you? Speaking of injuries, you
I decided that it'd be a good idea to stand up directly into a half-inch bolt sticking through a wall at work and bonked myself.
I could see that being bad.
Yeah, it wasn't super fun, but we're still here. We're still talking about some magic. So
I have a really bad tendency to do that when I'm under the trailer. Like when I go into the trailer to like look at like a brake chamber or something and stuff, I always just stand up under it, and it's. I mean, you guys listen to the show. It's the brain damage is obvious, right? So it's the brain damage lets me not have any instants and sorceries in the deck, only sorcery speed things. But yeah, so standing up is it's brutal. It's never fun. So no, I hope you're feeling good and everything. It's just been kind of back to back for a lot of industries and stuff. You were like really busy last week too. Sherman's busy this week, so. It just happens.
Yeah.
This is the one we wanted to do last week, and then we live brewed one because I don't want to do your deck without you. That'd be crazy. So let's before we say anything, let's just quickly hit a fast thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. It's a really cool place to come build decks, chat about the things. Thank you to everyone who tried a Rego deck recently. By the way, that makes me happy to hear that some people are seeing the glory of my little cat friend. It's a pretty fun and silly deck, and I love it. So I'm glad people like that one. If you like what we're doing, like, share, subscribe. It really, really does help us out. People see it more. People interact with it more, and then we're like more motivated to do it, and we're funded more to do it. So like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Even if you want to be like, hey, I hate this, guys, send it to them anyways, because it still helps me out. Other than that, if there's any decks any cards you want for decks that we're about to discuss, go over to houseofcards.ca, promo code IT99. They're going to give you a great discount. It's going to support us. It's going to be great for everyone. So again, House of Cards, promo code IT99. Just a very, very friendly store to deal with. Very great shipping, very great stock. And last but not least, can't speak at all, is throw some of these decks in AI armor sleeves because they're wonderful and they keep making good sleeves. And they have a new set of hand-drawn sliver sleeves that I need to get a bunch of because I have like 5 sliver decks. And with that, let's get into the one that you were excited. I think this was the one you're the most excited to build, right?
Yes. When we were doing our spoilers for Aether Drift, it might have been fairly obvious that I wasn't overly pumped about a lot of the legendaries. However, this one is awesome. It's Hashaton, Scarab's Fist. White and a black for a 1/3 legendary zombie wizard. Whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 2 and a blue. If you do, create a tap token that's a copy of that card, except it is a 4/4 black zombie. I have built the version that we're talking about today is actually the expensive version that I have right now. And cycling is another really, really fun way to build this.
You say this is the expensive version?
This is the expensive version, yes. The other cycling one comes in at $22.
I will say you guys build quite the budget decks. So yeah, this is a fairly cheap deck to build. But
yeah,
I was gonna say Hashaton very easily comes down turn 2. And if you have a way to be discarding things just in general, like you could even turn 1 Putrid Imp, turn 2 Hashaton, turn 3 discard and reanimate a creature, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of ways to get this online very fast. A 1/3 body early game, also not bad. Right? I'm excited to see the direction you've gone with Hashaton because I know the competitive scene really, really loves this card.
This deck is very far from that.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say too, and also like zombie Like everyone loves the zombie deck. I really like playing wizards. I have a really, really fun Inala deck that I love to play.
Mm-hmm.
So a new version of wizards is kind of cool with like built-in ability to reanimate. It's very nice that this doesn't exile the cards from your graveyard. You can still bring them back. You can still do other things with them, and that's not the norm that you would see, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you're usually used to doing your thing, and then the original's gone.
Yeah, you're kind of locked out of getting it back, right? So let's jump into some of our artifacts. You got a lot of them, 17, and I'm loving the rock selection so far. We have an Arcane Signet, 2 colorless mana, taps for 1 color of any color in your commander's identity, so nice 3-color rock.
Yeah. Then we've got the Azorius Signet, 2 mana. You can pay 1 to tap for white and blue.
Honestly, with the next ones, I love the diamonds, by the way.
Yeah.
So we have our charcoal diamond. They've quickly become one of my favorite, like, budget kind of rocks to throw as a placeholder in decks. And then to me, they serve 2 purposes. One, they're like a great starting point for a deck. And then the other is that if I want to upgrade a deck, I know, okay, well, this is an easy spot to look, right? I can upgrade my tapped stuff for a little faster stuff, or for maybe a creature that fills the role. Like I really like the diamonds as a building block. I got a huge brick of them in my building collection. So we have our charcoal diamond, 2 colorless. It enters tapped and it taps for a black. They were such a good reprint. I love them.
Oh, absolutely. You've definitely turned me on to the diamonds a lot more recently.
Oh, like I said, they're just fun. We tend to play as time has gone on. We tend to play, like, talking about the bracket system. We kind of all tend to play in the bracket 2, bracket 1 kind of, like, we play a lot of just silly decks. I've got lots of cool high power stuff. Slothy's got like some cool high power stuff. Sherman's I don't think Sherman plays many things that would be in like the bracket 3 or 4 range. He doesn't really like to build that way, but he plays in a very creative way, right? So that's at least kind of nice. But I like to play a lot of silly things because I find that silly things bring me a more satisfying win. When I win doing something kind of dumb, or I like kind of I'm playing not as hard as I can go. Not everything's a super high budget deck. It's just kind of fun to build a board state and win that way.
Yeah, adds a bit more flavor, I find, than just doing the same
recipe, right? Yeah,
every time.
Well, that's one of my big problems is that it's so easy for a deck to just feel the same when you got so many decks, right? That's why I'm not bothered by playing like multiple versions of Kenrith or multiple Regos. Like they're all different. At least I think they're different. You take our next one here, a very cool rock.
Yeah, we've got
pseudo rock, I guess.
Yeah, we've got Collector's Vault, 2 mana. You can pay 2 and tap it to draw a card and discard a card and create a treasure token.
That's good so
for getting your stuff in the graveyard, making some 4/4s, and also you're in 3 colors. The treasure token's going to help with fixing a little bit.
Well, it's also kind of nice that this is just a pure draw engine, because I would play something that was pay 2, tap, draw a card. That would be a great little rock. And pay 2, tap, draw a card, create a treasure token would be a staple in a ton of decks. And that's what this is in this, because all it is giving you already want to discard. And if you want to discard, there's no downside to this. It's all great.
Yeah, exactly.
We have our Commander Sphere. You tap 1 mana of any color in your commander's identity, sack it for, again, additional draw. And it's a 3-cost rock.
Love Commander Sphere.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Dimir Signet, 2 mana. You can pay 1 to tap it for a blue and a black.
Yeah. Grimoire of the Dead's so cheap.
Yeah.
I always forget about it. This is a 4 mana artifact, Grimoire of the Dead. Only 99 cents, which is pretty cool for a mythic. Pay 1, tap it, discard a card. You put a study counter on Grimoire of the Dead. So again, a 1 mana discard outlet is phenomenal for your deck. Tap Grimoire of the Dead, remove 3 study counters from it, and sack it. Put all creatures from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. They're black zombies in addition to their colors and types. That's pretty good.
Yes. I really think that they might have made a slight miscalculation not having the cards with Hashaton Exile.
Yeah, right, because you can just keep doing this, which is a big problem. Like, a board wipe doesn't really, you have to farewell this deck. Right, so it's Grimoire of the Dead it's such a cool reanimator, and it is nice because it does draw a lot of aggro away from any other artifacts you have, because you can't let this just sit around. But at its worst, it's just giving you that discard outlet, right? Even if you didn't have the other, the discard outlet's very good.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, we've got a card that I have really, really been enjoying lately. We've got Jack-O-Lantern. 1 mana. You can pay 1 and tap it to sacrifice it. Exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard and draw a card. And you can pay 1 to exile it from your graveyard to add 1 mana of any color.
That's not bad. A little bit of filtering, a little bit of targeted removal, or just, again, early draw if you need.
Yeah.
I really build to my personal meta, right? I'm not a player that plays a lot of, not as much random games as you would for a normal going out to an LGS all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to build towards my meta, but that leaves me a pretty glaring weakness to a lot of decks that I don't see all the time, and my meta isn't really graveyard heavy, right? So I never run things to actually interact with them. So I'm not full of Bajuka Bogs or anything like that. So having these targeted things to get rid of, if you got rid of my Lionized Diamond in my Muldrotha, for example, right? Pretty big problem in my deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hurts me pretty badly. So I like it. We have our Key to the City. 2 mana. You discard a card. Up to 1 target creature can't be blocked this turn, which is, number one, hilarious, because you can do it on other people's creatures when they're trying to make deals, and that's funny. It gets something for us through. And then whenever it becomes untapped, you can pay 2. If you do draw a card, I do want to also say Hashaton's ability is triggered. So all of these things are essentially, they're like pseudo flash in your deck. When you pay that 1 with Grimoire, you're able to flash creatures out. You can hold that mana up. You don't have to use it on your turn, because Hashaton's ability triggers when the discard happens, right?
Exactly.
You're not stuck on your turn, right? Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Yep. Whenever you discard any creature card. So the card has like a pseudo flash built into it timing wise, because of how you can do all these discards, right? Like Grimoire is not a discard on only your turn. Neither is Key. Neither is this Collector's Vault. A lot of these discard outlets are going to let you do it whenever you want.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of something that I tried to keep in mind, so that I could hold up if I needed to have interaction, or on the end step before my turn, just discard something quick and then have it untap on my upkeep.
Well, yeah, it makes the deck a lot more threatening if you don't have to play on technically your turn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then
our turn.
Yeah, our turn, exactly. And then you're also getting everything has pseudo haste that way, right? Because then you're also getting it out right before your turn comes in anyway. So the mana you're spending is the same as if it had haste, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it's not the same, but you get it. You understand the point I'm making.
There's links there somewhere.
Yeah, right?
Next up, we've got the Marble Diamond. 2 mana, enters tapped, and can tap for a white.
Yep. Another great 2 mana rock. We have Mind Stone. 2 mana, taps for a colorless, pay 1, tap it, sack it, draw a card.
Yeah.
I like that a lot of these late game, like once you have the mana and it doesn't matter, you can throw them away for draw, try refill your hand a little bit.
We've got the Orzhov Signet. 2 mana, pay 1, tap it for white-black.
Yep. Sky Diamond. 2 mana. Enters tapped again, and this one is for a blue.
You already knew.
It lined up perfectly.
It did. We've got our Strixhaven Stadium. 3 mana. You can tap it for a colorless and put a point counter on it. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, remove a point counter. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, put a point counter on it. Then if it has 10 or more, remove them all, and that player loses the game.
It's a good rock.
It's a very good rock.
Especially in like a creature heavy deck. It's a good rock.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the 3 mana rocks. We have our talismans as well, which were, I think, still some of my favorite reprints that have ever happened in all categories. The talismans were pretty pricey for a while, and they've all come down pretty good. 2 mana, taps for colorless. This is dominance. Taps for colorless or taps for either a blue or black and 1 damage to you. Again, that 1 damage is it's nothing in Commander, right? The fact that it's mana if you don't need the colors, and that you can save yourself and get back in the game for 1 life, easy choice.
Yeah, exactly. Then we've got the Talisman of Hierarchy. which is 2 mana, taps for colorless, or white and black, and it'll deal 1 damage to you.
Yep. And then we have, rounding out the artifacts here, Talisman of Progress, again, tapping for a colorless or a white or blue, and 1 damage to you. It's so nice that you can have these great, like the $4.
Yeah.
Right? I love it. Do we want to go into you got a big creature section there. Do you want to go into creatures next, or do you want to save it?
Let's save it.
All right, let me move us down through these creatures. No spoilers, except for the spoilers you might have seen on the YouTube video, but no spoilers other than that. Let's get into our enchantments.
Yeah. Our first enchantment here is Drake Haven. 2 and a blue. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah. There were a lot of really neat cards from the, would that have been 2020 Commander set?
Yeah.
The Ikoria ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the Gavi deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be hard to pick some of them because there are a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
We have a Dying to Serve here. 2 and a black. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, create a tapped black 2/2 black zombie. Triggers only once each turn. That's great. It's already what we're doing. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. Then we've got Oversold Cemetery. 1 and a black. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand.
Target is rough.
Yeah.
Target's
This is
rough, yeah.
Souped up Visonia.
Yeah, again, even at a random, that would have been a good card. But that just because now you're able to you're running like kind of a pseudo clone deck without going into running a clone deck at this point, right? Which is fun. Because I'm sure you have a lot of utility ETB. I'm sure we'll get there, but that's pretty cool. And then we have a Zombie Infestation, 1 and a black. Discard 2 cards, you create a 2/2 black zombie. So another just discard outlet that we can do on anyone's turn. Yeah. I guess you could reanimate both of them, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so all right. That's mean. Discard 2 cards, reanimate both with a Hashaton, and get a zombie. That's pretty good. I don't even know how to pronounce this next word. Instante? Instante. Yeah, the instant section. Take us away.
Yeah. Our first instant we've got here is D-Spark. For a white and a black, you can exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frantic Search also really good in this deck. This is just a free cast of any creature. In this, Frantic Search, 2 and a blue. Draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, untap up to 3 lands. This is also turning all the creatures into 4/4s. Is that right as well, too?
Correct.
That's problematic.
Slightly.
Yeah, kind of mean. Yeah, that's great. That is free real estate there.
We've got our Negate, 1 and a blue, counter target non-creature spell. I feel like Hashaton's going to be a fairly decently large target, and I wanted to build this with every card minus Hashaton being under $1, so you can't have things like Swiftfoot Boots. You got to have as much protection for him as possible.
I like that there's a logic to your no protection and Swiftfoot Boots, and mine is just caveman brain. Nah, they would never, and then they do every turn.
They're not mean like that.
Right. We have Refute, which is really, really cool. 1 double blue, counter target spell, draw a card, discard a card. I like this.
We've got Rites of Refusal, 1 and a blue. Discard any number of cards from your hand. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3 for each card discarded this way.
That's pretty annoying. These discard counter spells where you're able to also continue your nonsense while countering my stuff is frustrating interaction. I gotta say, so far, really, we're not even in the creature section. So far, I really like this deck list. I can already see that this would be a blast to play. We have our Rootborn Defenses, which is great as well. 2 and a white, instant, populate, creatures you control gain indestructible till end of turn. So again, another way to copy a cool creature you've discarded, because populate is creature tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah, and then I was
going to say really quickly, and it's not even just creature tokens, it's all creatures, so more Hashaton protection.
Yeah. Then we've got Shadow of the Grave, 1 and a black. Return to your hand all cards in your graveyard that you cycled or discarded this turn.
Yeah, solid recursion.
Yeah. I
like that one a lot. 32 lands, you're running them light today.
But you already know.
It is. We are pretty low on we're pretty low on mana cost stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all right.
Yeah.
I'll
32, 33 is...
Yeah, give or take, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put 33 in everything. Let's hit this Planeswalker here. You want to take this one?
Sure.
Okay.
We've got Liliana, Death's Majesty. 3 double black for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. +1 is create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Mill 2 cards. -3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. And -7 is destroy all non-zombie creatures.
Yeah.
I like all 3 modes on that.
Yeah, nice one-sided board wipe, nice token generator. It's good.
Yeah.
We have a sorcery section. So we start with Bone Shards. As an additional cost to cast it, sack a creature or discard, so another awesome discard section. Destroy target creature or planeswalker is a fun way to get, again, 2 for.
Yeah. Then we've got Macabre Waltz. 1 and a black. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand, then discard a card.
Very cool that it brings them to hand, then discards.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. We have an old card here, Restless Dreams. 1 black, as an additional cost to play it, discard X cards from your hand. Return X target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. I like that.
Yeah, it's definitely more beneficial for me to bring them to hand than battlefield.
Yeah.
With this one.
Well, then you control when they enter, how they enter.
Yeah, I don't want my actual creatures on the battlefield. That's gross.
Yeah, then they can get exiled. They can get swords.
Yeah. Then we've got Unearth, which is 1 mana. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And it's got cycling too.
And we end with Victimize. 2 and a black. You choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard, sack a creature. If you do, you return the chosen ones to the battlefield tapped. That's pretty solid recursion, and Victimize is a great card.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like all these sections so far. We've got, I know we have quite the big section, the meat and potatoes of your deck coming up here.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say about it before we get into this creature section while I scroll?
Not particularly. It's all pretty straightforward when you're looking at it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why don't you take us away there?
Let's jump into it. And like I said before we even start this, I like this deck. I really think it's pretty cool so far. It's I like seeing fun, functional budget decks. It warms my heart. So with that, let's get into this already very mean section. Row 1, I'm just like, what is going on here? We start off Angel of Ruins, 5 double white for a 5/7 angel artifact creature. It has flying. When it enters, exile up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. Ooh.
So you can pay 7 mana for the creature.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can pay 5 mana for a 4/4 version of the creature. They'll exile 2 things, and you get a land out of it.
Yeah, because it also has this plane cycling. This has its discard built into it. Discard this card, search for planes, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. That's good. There's a lot of utility with this discard ability. And again, this gives you instant speed interaction technically with this Angel of Ruins.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
We've got Archfiend of Ifnir, 5 double black for a 5/4 demon with flying. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control, and it has cycling for 2.
Damn. Yeah. Again, another way to get to your end step, discard 2 cards, wipe the board of tokens.
Yeah.
-1/-1's rough. We have our Ashen Rider as well, which is another not fun card to have reanimated. I love these big costs that can come in easy. 4 double white, double black for a good reason. At 5 mana, when it enters or dies, you exile target permanent. You already know I'm hitting lands with this. We all know I'm 100%. Hitting. We all know that I'm hitting whatever like green source they have. They have 1 green mana out. They don't anymore. I love to target specific colors of mana if I'm doing it, and it's a good target. You could also, sure, get like a doubling season or still have friends, but I like to single target right on their colored mana.
Yeah, exactly.
Send a message.
Let them know what they're doing is not okay.
Yeah.
Then we've got Bog Witch, 2 and a black for a 1/1 Spell Shaper. You can pay a black and tap it and discard a card from your hand to add 3 black to your mana pool.
That's pretty good.
Cutting down the cost to only a single blue is pretty good.
That's really cool, yeah. And again, it gives you that other like flash ability. It's pretty good. I'm really liking this. We have a Champion of Wits, 2 and a blue. It is a Naga wizard. When it enters the battlefield, you may draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard 2 cards, which is again very cool. It's ETB, draw and discard, so lets us search for answers and gives us a chance to immediately cast them. Then it has this Eternalize ability. You can pay 5 double blue, exile from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie with no mana cost. Eternalize only as a sorcery. That's basically, we're already eternalizing it without at the exile.
Pretty much, yeah. Then we've got the Dreadwing Scavenger, 1 blue and a black for 2/2 Nightmare Bird with flying. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, draw a card and discard a card. And it's got Threshold. This creature gets +1/+1 and has Death Touch as long as there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard.
Now, what's fun about this is it's your first part that is benefiting from that 4/4 buff. All the other ones have been like big, beefy creatures that are, problematic on their own. This Dreadwing is coming in as a 4/4. Then it becomes a 5/5 Death Toucher. That's a 5/5 flying Death Toucher. And that is also a draw engine and a discarding cast engine.
Yeah.
That's cool. I see, I was like, maybe he is just going pretty hard on the mana rocks because he's got a lot of high cost things that he wants to additionally cast. No, you have so much ability to be throwing that stuff out. You need that mana.
Yeah.
I like it. Is it, it is me. Dream Trawler, yeah. I'm bad at seeing who's got, I just keep seeing this and I'm like, this looks fun. 2 double white, double blue for a 3/5 Sphinx with flying and lifelink. Whenever you draw a card, gets 1/0 until end of turn. Whenever you draw a card, 1/0 until end of turn. Whenever Dream Trawler attacks, draw a card. Phenomenal. Discard a card, gains hexproof until end of turn, and tap it. Wonderful.
Yeah. Nice little way to gain some life from all the talisman damage you're taking.
Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of does it all. It again lets us do that instant speed discard whenever we want. It has built-in protection. It has draw. Like, this is good.
Yeah. Then we've got Forgotten Creation, 3 and a blue for a 3/3 zombie horror with Skulk. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard all the cards in your hand. If you do, draw that many cards.
Yeah. Again, a cool loot dig. We have this Gem Palm Polluter. I was just looking at that. And this would infuriate me because generally speaking, a pretty expensive card. 5 and a black for a 4/3 zombie. It comes out actually stronger than it is if you use the ability. But when you cycle it, and it's cycling for 2 black, you discard it, draw a card. So you're getting a draw engine off it. You're going to have target player lose life equal to the number of zombies on the battlefield. You might just kill people with this card.
Yeah.
Yeah. While you're just also doing what you want to do, which is a draw, a discard, kill Daniel.
You got to do it.
You got to do it to him.
You can't let his 0/1s go unchecked.
That's true. They become a problem eventually.
Oh, yeah. It is me this time. We've got the Ghost of Ramirez DiPietro. For 2 and a blue, it's a 2/3 legendary spirit pirate. The Ghost of Ramirez DiPietro can't be blocked by creatures with toughness 3 or greater. And whenever the Ghost of Ramirez DiPietro deals combat damage to a player, choose up to 1 target card in a graveyard that was discarded or put there from a library this turn, put that card into its owner's hand, and it has partner.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that if you use the Hashaton ability, there's nothing that can block, minus like indestructible and all that. There's nothing that can block the Ghost of Ramirez and live.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. You have to throw it away. That's cool. We have our Ghostly Pilfer, another spirit here. So 1 in the blue for a 2/1 spirit rogue. When it becomes untapped, you can pay 2 if you do draw a card. So cool little mana sink. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card, which is phenomenal in Commander always. And discard a card. It can't be blocked this turn, so another discard outlet.
Yeah. Then we've got the Gleaming Overseer. 1 blue and a black for 1/4 zombie wizard. When this creature enters, amass zombies 1, and zombie tokens you control have hexproof and menace.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just a nice little way to protect all the threatening 4/4s you're making.
Well, again, it's protecting. It's a token generator on ETB. That's good. I like it. We have our Grave Titan, which is, come on, you got to. 4 double black for a death touching 6/6 giant. We have the bad touch Titan. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, you get 2. The bad touch Titan, you like that one? Whenever this creature enters or attacks, you create 2/2/2 black zombie creature tokens. That's not something you want to have on the. Oh no, it's only a 4/4 death touch. Yeah, grow up. It's gonna hurt. Again, at 3 mana with this commander, it's bringing out your 4/4 and 2 zombies with it. So it's bringing out 8 power at 3 mana and a death toucher. It's and it becomes a zombie, which Grave Titan always should have been. It's the right way to play it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it.
Then we've got Grave Crawler, single black for 2/1 zombie. Creature can't block, and you may cast this card from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie.
Yeah, easy to recur, easy to aggro attack with.
I just think he's neat.
I just think they're neat. We have our Looter Il Core. 1 and a blue for a 1/1 with Shadow. When it deals damage to an opponent, draw a card, then discard a card. I really like a lot of these. I like you have a lot of draw in the deck, a lot more draw than you would think.
Yeah. Actually, I was looking. I'm not certain for this one, but my other version has 51 ways to draw cards.
That's cool. I do like good draw.
Yeah. Then we've got the Lord of the Accursed. 2 and a black for a 2/3 zombie. Other zombies you control get +1/+1, and you can pay 1 and a black and tap it to have all zombies gain menace until end of turn.
Yeah, I like that. It's again, being able to recur, like with your Oversold Cemetery and stuff like that. You can just keep getting a lot of these versions of like a Lord of Accursed. Your zombies could all have like 10/10 from your Lord of Accursed, right?
Yeah.
We have another draw and cast engine in this deck, Merfolk Looter. 1 and a blue for 1/1 Merfolk Rogue. Tap it, draw a card, then discard a card.
Then we've got Obsessive Stitcher. 1 a blue and a black for 0/3 Human Wizard. You can tap it to draw a card and discard a card. Or you can pay 2 blue and a black and tap it to sacrifice the Obsessive Stitcher and return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
That's cool.
Double Grave Titan.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, that is true. The fact that Hashaton doesn't exile is a design oversight for sure. It should have, at least until that token leaves or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they just kind of opened things up to being a little silly.
Well, again, this is like a sub $60 dollar deck, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. I'm just seeing a lot of pathways to make a lot of annoying creatures.
Yeah.
We have our Peregrine Drake for 4 and a blue. It enters the battlefield, untaps 5 lands, 2/3 Drake. So nice. Being able to get that at 3 mana is pretty cool. So you're positive of land above that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's probably pretty easy to loop this card in this deck.
Probably, yeah.
I'm sure there's a way. Someone smarter than me will figure out an easy way, but like the Peregrine Drakes, those Palancrons, any of those things, they always get looped.
Yeah. The card you mentioned earlier, we've got Putrid Imp. Single black for a 1/1 zombie imp. You can discard a card to have it gain flying until end of turn. And it's got Threshold. As long as there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, Putrid Imp gets +1/+1 and cannot block.
Does this guy know discard cards or what? I've played a Turgid deck or two.
1 or 2 in your day.
Yeah. I love Putrid Imp. It's cool. We have Radiant Solar, a card I've liked ever since it came in, which is wonderful because of its bottom ability. But 5 and a white for a 3/6 Angel, flying lifelink, great stats. When it or another non-token enters under your control, venture into the dungeon, which is very, very cool to be able to do. So you enter the first room or advance to the next room, and you can pay 1 white, discard it, venture into the dungeon, and you gain 3 life. So you can get a double dungeon enter off of 1 white mana and the reanimate cost, also making it a stronger flying lifelinker.
All for less mana as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. I like that.
Then we've got the Rune Scarred Demon. 5 double black for a 6/6 demon with flying. When it enters, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle.
Yeah. Again, a really cool suite of tools in your high cost creature section.
Yeah.
I like this. We have Sephris of the Hidden Ways. 1 white, blue, black for a 2/3 human wizard. Whenever one or more creature cards are put in your graveyard from anywhere, venture into the dungeon. So again, another cool way to get that venture into the dungeon mechanic going passively. And then whenever you complete a dungeon, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. So built-in reanimation, and a lot of the venture into the dungeon things are pretty cool. I want to see what they all are here, because it's been a while, and I feel like we have a few minutes. So
yeah,
let me read what some of these dungeons do if I can pull them up here. Where are they all?
if you go to the bottom of the page where the tokens are and hit extras, that's where they got them all.
Oh, they're just even on this page. Man,
Yeah.
Architect really does it all.
Mm-hmm.
Where? No. The bottom. Extras. Okay. So any of these venture things that we can do the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, where you start at the Yawning Portal and you gain a life, you move to Scry 1, then you split off to Goblin Bazaar, create a treasure token, or Twisted Caverns, target creature can't attack till your next turn. All right. Moving on, you lost level Scry 2. Then you get to the Runestone Caverns, exile the top 2 cards of your library, you may play them. Or you create 2 1/1 black skeletons. That's probably the route I'd take there.
Mm-hmm.
Deep Mines is Scry 3, and then Mad Wizard's Lair, draw 3 cards, reveal them. You can cast 1 without paying its mana cost. Again, just great things to passively be doing. Because you choose which dungeon you go into, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also have the next one is Lost Mine of Fandelver. Cave Entrance is the first Scry. Then you pick Goblin Lair, create a red goblin creature token, or Mine Tunnels, create a treasure. And then from the Goblin Lair side, you can go Storeroom, 1/1 counter on target creature, or Dark Pool. Each opponent loses a life, you gain a life. And then you can also do Dark Pool from Mine Tunnels, Fungi Cavern. Target creature gets -4/-0. And then Temple of Dumathoin, I think. Is that how you say this?
Yeah.
Cool. You also draw a card, which is wonderful. And then the final one is this Tomb of Annihilation. You start trapped, each player loses a life. Then you choose Veil of Fear. Each player loses 2 life unless they discard, which is obviously the route we're going to go as much as we can, yep. Or we go over to the Oubliette one, discard a card and sack an artifact creature and a land also. Nah, we probably wouldn't take the Oubliette one. We go Veils.
Yeah.
So then we go Sandfall Cell. Target player loses 2 life unless they sack an artifact creature or land. Yeah, of course we're going that way. And then Cradle of the Death God. Create the Atropel, a legendary 4/4 black god horror creature token with Death Touch. Yeah. I like it. The fact that the Venture of the Dungeon stuff kind of just goes so well with the deck, just kind of built in on the side, is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I love Zephyrus. I should find that deck and play it again. It's one of the ones I edited up pretty heavy.
Yeah, Zephyrus is so much fun. Next up, though, we've got the Sister Hospitaller for white and a black for a 3/2 human cleric with Medicus Ministorum. When Sister Hospitaller enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its mana value.
It's pretty good. That's a cool ETB to be able to keep repeating at 3 mana instant speed.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. And again, you're not, for your talismans or for people inevitably just trying to kill you because you're making the zombie army. The problem with a deck like this is I like to just make a big board of what could only be considered buddies. So I'm not going to kill people with these cards. I'm just going to keep trying to make copies. I'm going to try have like 13 rune-scarred demons or something, you know?
Yeah.
That's going to be my problem. I'm definitely always the target for a Rakdos Charm. We have this Scourge Familiar. 4 and a black for a 3/2 Phyrexian Imp with flying. That also gives you discard a card, add a black mana, which is honestly pretty cool because you're going to reanimate this with your normal thing. It's going to be a 4/4 flyer instead, giving you the outlet to start throwing things away at instant speed and adding mana. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Then we've got our Solemn Simulacrum, 4 mana for a 2/2 artifact creature golem. When it enters, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. When it dies, you may draw a card.
Honestly, sorry, I have to talk about this combo that you have here.
Combo.
You have a potentially pretty cool combo. Maybe. I was just thinking because of the one that brings back all the cards you cycled and discarded, right?
Shadow of the Grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can throw your hand, Shadow of the Grave, get your whole hand back. But I guess how do you get Shadow of the Grave back? Because it wouldn't be all right. We need to get Shadow of the Grave back, but you do have a pretty easy way to enable an infinite mana loop there, where you just say, I discard everything, get this card back, and I like it. You could go pretty. There's got to be a way to a creature that enters and puts a card back on top of your library.
Let's see here.
There's for sure. I believe in it. While you look, I'll read the Solemn Simulacrum though. So it's 4 mana for a 2/2 golem. When it enters, you can search your library for a basic land, put that card on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. And when it dies, you may draw a card, which is great. Let me take a look here.
Finding Aberrant Mind Sorcerer could be fun.
Okay.
It's 4 and a blue for a 3/4 human elf shaman with psionic spells. When it enters the battlefield, choose target instant or sorcery in your graveyard, roll a d20. 1 to 9, you can put it on top of your library. 10 to 20, you can return it to your hand.
That's cool.
It's given me a lot to think about.
I was going to say, it's a blue card. When it enters, you could Torrential Gearhulk.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see Torrential Gearhulk here.
Archaeomancer.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking. Yes, Archaeomancer, because you can just keep making a copy of Archaeomancer. You only need 3 mana to do that, right?
Yeah.
And then you can do target. Okay, but Torrential Gearhulk will exile it. So yeah, you'd want an Archaeomancer.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then you'd also get infinite copies of
Archaeomancer, yeah. And any other thing that you want in your deck, which is your sorceries, right? Because you're gonna have infinite mana. It's cool toolboxes. As soon as I saw that, I was like, well, there's for sure a combo with this Scourge Familiar thing. We got there. Archaeomancer probably also fits your budget.
Yes.
Runescar Demon out the copies. You guys get it?
I'm gonna add that right now
into the list. You like this? You like this mini combo?
21 cents.
A cool combo on a budget never hurts.
Yeah.
I'll let you take our good Titan.
Yeah, we've got our Sun Titan. 4 double white for a 6/6 giant with vigilance. Whenever Sun Titan enters or attacks, you return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Quite a few of the creatures fit into this.
Yeah. It's just a cool ETB in general, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you can get so many of your artifacts that you can sack again, like your command spheres, those as well too.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Your Grimoire's 4.
You're passively throwing a lot of cards away in this deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of easy ways to get things back. We have our Thought Courier. 1 and a blue for a human wizard. You pay 1, or no, it is a 1/1, sorry. You just tap it, draw a card, then discard a card from your hand, which is again that I really like that you have so many of those that are, because I want to cast the card already. So that card being discarded is not a downside in the slightest. I'm already factoring it in when I'm activating these cards. And then so this is tap to draw a card, and that's great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a very, very big draw engine when I'm just trying to throw the card away in the first place, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's good.
Next up we've got the Timeless Dragon. 3 double white for 5/5 dragon with flying. It has plane cycling for 2. And it has Eternalize for 2 double white.
Yeah. I like that. Nice. It's again, in a worst case, just becomes a cool creature. Best case, it becomes something we can recur and keep plane cycling to drag lands out.
Yeah.
And you do have some of the they're the slower duels, but they are the island plains duels I've seen.
Yeah.
We have Tireless Tribe. A 1 white mana 1/1. Discard a card from your hand. It gets 0/4 until end of turn. Cool.
Yeah. Nice little blocker. We've got the Undead Augur. Double black for a 2/2 zombie wizard. Whenever this creature or another zombie you control dies, you draw a card and lose a life.
I like that. I got no problem with that one. I like all these. I like your use of these spell shapers here. So we have our Undertaker. 1 and a black for a spell shaper. You pay a black, tap it, discard a card from your hand, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. So again, we're passively drawing a lot of stuff. We're gonna a lot of times hit that. We're gonna have a bunch of lands, dead cards in hand because of that, right? Because we have just a lot of like discard, draw. And the cards that we're discarding aren't the dead cards in the hand. They're the creatures we want to play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to be able to like pay a blue, discard an island, get back a Grave Titan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you do see a lot of your deck, or your deck in this one.
Mm-hmm.
However, this is our last section, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Our final card here we've got is Vohar Vodalian Desecrator. Blue and a black for a 1/2 legendary Phyrexian Merfolk Wizard. You can tap it to draw a card and discard a card. If you discard an instant or sorcery this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And you can pay 2 to sacrifice it. You may cast target instant or sorcery from your graveyard this turn. If that spell will be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Activate only as a sorcery.
I like this.
Yeah, being able to double up on like Rootborn defenses or anything like that is quite fun.
Well, even just even getting another copy of your D-Spark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your D-Spark, your Rights of Refusal. Again, your Shadow of the Grave to keep getting those back.
Yeah.
I really like this list. I think this is very, very cool. It's a $69 list is pretty wonderful to play just in general. You don't really see that it's a phenomenal budget. Especially, I also got to mention this is a $60 list with a $13 commander. Yeah, that's pretty good, right? Like I love the direction. I think Sherman would have been really proud of this list in general.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cool cards that are like this Bog Witch. I don't play Bog Witch in anything. That's so fun.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, minus the commander, this is a 1DH list.
Yeah,
which has been something I've kind of been obsessed with doing lately.
That's is there a cheaper version of Hashaton?
Well, I use for the price horses, I have TCG Player first, so this deck is actually $32 for me, and Hashaton is $430.
Sheesh.
However, with TCG Player, you'll be paying $200 in shipping.
$200 in shipping from 95 packages.
Yeah,
that's not the way to do it. Go to House of Cards, promo code IT99, buy out all their Hashatons and send me one so I can build this. I want to see. Do you have a link to the other deck, or is it scanned in?
It is, yes.
You want to quickly throw that there into the chat, and I'll pull that one up too, and just do a scroll through. This is a very cool list. This is really, really fun.
Yeah. This is my cycling version. And yeah, with the TCG Player pricing, it is $21.95.
I see a not found on that one there.
Oh, do I have to make it on private?
Well, Thunder brings up a good point too with Library of Lang, something like that.
Yeah.
Library of Lang would be also very good in this deck. But then you'd have to stack it weird, I think, so that you don't miss the cards you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, here we go. So this is our $50. It says $50 for me here, Hashaton version.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it doesn't work with discard as a cost. Interesting. Oh, because are you not technically discarding? Sorry, I'm chatting with Thunder. I don't play Library of Lang enough. I like this list too here. When you discard as an effect, okay.
Yeah, they're not discarded.
I get it. That's fair. All right, well, no Library of Lang.
Get it out of here.
I like your Fluctuator. A pretty similar section here, but when it dies, you draw X and lose X, where X is the number of creature cards in target player's graveyard. That's a cool one. Cloud of Fairies untapping, your Eagles. I like this. So this is just another version that's more heavy into the cycling part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like a whole bunch of the cycling lands minus the Cryomes.
Yeah. Again, the Jessian Zombies is a really cool one that for a blue, a black, and it's island cycling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever this Junkwinder is also a cool one. Whenever a token you control enters up to tap target non-land permanent opponent controls doesn't untap. That's annoying. That's really obnoxious. Your Monstrosity of the Lake enters with the island cycling. Pay 5 if you tap all creatures your opponents control stun counter on them. You got a very cool toolbox of cards. It'd be pretty hard to cut this list down. I really, really like both of these.
I'm glad.
I'm gonna these are cool decks. I'm gonna put both of these lists in the show notes, obviously.
Sweet.
I love that you have like such a different selection of cards in each of these two.
Yeah, it's I tried to have as many different cards between them as possible, just so if you're looking for more of this, it's not, oh yeah, it's this with 3 extra cards.
Yeah. No, this is this is a very, very cool build deck. Like I'm very excited to see this. I could see this one being another one that you really, because I found, I think the one you have the most fun with right now is still your investigation deck.
Yeah.
But I could see this becoming like a contender for just like one of your more favorite decks, because it just looks like it can do so much fun stuff. And it looks like it's going to be your commander being 2 mana makes it consistent. It's very, very easy to get that commander out. It's very hard to, like a 6 mana, 7 mana commander, you got to ramp really hard into it. It's a different game, but a 2 mana commander, it casts itself basically, you know?
Yeah. Like, think of why Ginnin is so feared.
Well, exactly, right? Like, so the fact that you're gonna get this online, like it's not even it's not a question of when. It's gonna generally be like turn 2 every time. So no, I really, really like this list, and I'm going to trying to make that silent. I'm gonna build a version of this for sure. I'm gonna probably build a version of this with just what's sitting at my house.
Fair.
Yeah, like, because I have the majority of these cards just sitting here. I don't have Bog Witches. Got to get some Bog Witches. Those are really, really cool. That's a really cool ramp piece for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of this stuff is just passively sitting in my collection. I don't have these cool new Grave Titans. I do like the artwork for Aether Drift sucks, but the Grave Titan art is pretty cool.
Yeah, the Grave Titan and the Zombie Master art from Aether Drift go so hard.
Is that one in this list too, or no?
No.
Okay. But it just does go hard? That's fair. I also really like this Sisters Hospitaller card. I want to use that for some different decks.
Yeah.
Like I said, with that loop, though, you can, if you have anything that converts mana color or just some blue, you can make your infinite copies. You just need a blue mana.
Yeah.
Which is not that hard to get around, especially when you're just getting infinite black mana. I like it. Like I said, I think that that's a very easy combo. I'll rant about this one for a while because I'm I obsess over Magic, if you can't tell by the number of decks I have, right? So I'm like, ever since we started getting, I was like, man, I like this. This is a pretty cool deck. But now I'm just like, what do I want to put in this? So I'm fighting the urge to start like live brewing a second version of this right now, like a $69 deck's good, but I don't know if I got the self-control. I don't know if I have it in me. But this is really cool. I like this. I'm gonna roll this here.
Yeah.
Because I will obsess over this. This is I'm proud of this one. This is a cool one. Also, I like your deck name. Okay, so thank you guys for getting through another episode here. I'm sure you enjoyed this one like I did, because this is such a cool deck. If you want to buy any of the cards in Slothy's deck, go over to houseofcards.ca. Promo code IT99. You're going to get a great discount. You're going to get that Hashaton on the cheap. And then, Hashaton the cheap.
Hashaton the cheap.
Exactly, you know. AI Armor Sleeves is a wonderful space to put these in. Like, share, subscribe. It really, really does help us out. It means a lot. Leave comments. I like knowing what people think and things. And again, there's so many interactions in Magic, like even just Thunder letting us know there, again, with the Library of Lang, how it like works and stuff, right? There's so many things that interact differently, so sometimes it gets stuff wrong, but comment, it is nice. And then, come to Patreon if you want to just chat with us more, build decks with us. We have wonderful patrons, and thank you everyone who supports us on Patreon. It really does mean a lot to us. And with that, I'll let everyone have just a little bit of music to go. That's the wrong screen. There we go. That's the right screen. We're good. I like this outro song. I always like this outro song. Bye-bye.
Toodles.